Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon to you, depending on where you are watching us from. I'm Lizz Dexter-Mazza, and I'm so excited that you are here for today's class for DBT Steps A Student Skills for Surviving and Thriving during COVID-19 and beyond. We started this class a couple months ago as a way of teaching social-emotional learning to all the students and families who are doing school from home during this time. I am one of the curriculum developers. You've got my kids here. We'll introduce them in a minute, along with Jim, my husband and curriculum developer here.
I am Jim.
He'll be teaching in a little while. Today's class is all the lessons come out of the DBT Skills in Schools Social-Emotional Learning Curriculum Manual that we developed and work with lots of schools around the world to implement. And so we wanted to make sure if we were going to be teaching our kids social-emotional learning, that you had an opportunity to get these too. And I have a couple of really exciting announcements. We just wanted you to have this information now, and then we'll make it again at the end of class today, is that both Jim and I will be doing a live Q&A coming up on Tuesday, May 19th, and again on Tuesday, June 16th, at this usual time of our Steps A class from 10 to 11 a.m. And we'll be there to be able to focus on answering any questions you have about parenting and education and how we're going to prepare ourselves with these skills for this period of time through the summer and when we go back to whatever school might look like in the fall. So we hope you'll join us there. You can register for that Q&A webinar at our website, www.dbtinschools.com. And then also every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, you can find Jim and I on Facebook Live with our Parenting Through COVID-19 live stream. So we hope you'll join us there, continuing to just get information. Our goal is to figure out how do we raise emotionally resilient kids with mental wellness and resilience during this time. So thank you for joining us. One other thing really excited about the webinars is that they are co-hosted with us and two other organizations, through Forefront and Suicide Prevention out of the University of Washington, and the Northwest Mental Health Technology Transfer Center, also out of the University of Washington. So please come and join us and ask all your questions. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to our class today, which we are very fortunate that I get to hang out with them all the time, and hopefully you'll enjoy hanging out with them during this time as well.
I'm Ashton, I'm 12 and I'm in 6th grade.
I'm Grace, I'm 8 and I'm in 2nd grade.
My name is Jackson, I am 13 and I am in 7th grade.
Fantastic, great. And who do we have? Anybody chime in on who we have with us at home today watching?
Nothing yet.
Okay, great. So all of our classes, we start off with a mindfulness lesson where we practice the mindfulness skills that are core to all of the skills that we use. And today we're going to do an exercise that we're going to focus on observing sensations and noticing our urges to move without acting on them. We're also going to, as we do this, that's the primary mindfulness skill we're practicing. We're also going to practice participating, going all in the moment without judgment, right? So noticing if any judgments go into your mind, thinking maybe this is stupid, or I don't want to do this, or I look silly. I want you to notice that urge and not act on it. And then keep doing the activity. So what we're going to do, and I want you guys to all do this at home with us also, is we are going to practice. We're going to start out for about 30 seconds or so, moving our bodies really fast. You're just going to wave your arms, move your legs, move them all around. And then I'm going to say, and freeze. And in that moment of freeze, wherever your body is, make sure you've got 2 feet on the ground during it so you don't have to stand up like this, right? In that moment of freeze, I want you just to notice and watch the sensations that occur throughout your body, in your arms, into your fingertips, your legs. And you might have some urges to move, and I want you to not move. I want you to just notice and follow the sensations, watch them. And then I'm going to have us start again and do it one more time, and then we'll stop and notice again on that. Right? And so we're practicing observing the sensations and not acting on the urges to move during the freeze points. Do you guys have any questions on that? All right, you ready to go all in?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Are you ready to go all in?
Yeah!
Thank you. Are you guys ready to go all in and participate? Yes. Okay, stand up.
Can I join?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Okay, you just got to not be right in front of the camera. There
All
we go. All right, so ready? Get yourself in kind of mindfulness, wide awake. All right? And when I say go, we're going to just move our bodies until I say stop, and then we're going to freeze, and then watch that, and then we'll go again. Okay. Are you ready? And begin. And freeze. Notice the sensations. And go again.
Oh my god.
Move, move, move.
Getting your exercise in, Ashton?
And freeze. And stop. Have a seat. Okay, everybody. So, wiggle your bodies a little if you want to. All right, so now let's practice describing, one of our mindfulness skills, describing non-judgmentally what you observed during that exercise. What did you notice? What did you observe? Jackson.
My arms got tingly.
So lots of tingles throughout your arms.
Felt good.
You felt, so you noticed some joy. You liked that sensation of all the tingles. Okay.
I felt a mix of tingles and tickles.
Tingles and tickles. Okay. And where did you feel those?
My limbs.
In your limbs. So in your arms, your hands, and your legs?
And the butt.
And your bottom. Okay. And Ashton, what did you notice? What did you observe?
I wanted to move.
During the freeze spots? Right. So you
My
like...
legs were sore.
Okay, so you notice those urges to move. And you guys type in what you saw, felt, and observed at home. So you noticed the urge to move during the moments of freeze. And did you act on those urges at all during it? No, you were able to completely stay still?
No.
No, so you did act on those urges.
Just a little bit.
So a little bit, but noticing, like, did you notice you had the urge before you moved? Right? And so that's exactly what we're practicing here, right? Sometimes we don't even notice that our urge goes into a behavior so fast that we don't even do it. So what's the reason why we would practice something like this? Why is this a mindfulness exercise that's important to our lives? Like, why would we do this?
Like you can't do something. Just like being mindful of that.
So being mindful of noticing that urge to move? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that? Well, that's exactly right. Like the fact that you moved and then you noticed like, oh, I'm moving, freeze again, right? Is that kind of what you were saying?
Yeah.
Right? That it went so fast from, oh, all of a sudden I'm moving and I didn't even notice the urge. The reason we practice this exercise is to give us opportunities to practice noticing that urge to do the behavior, move, before we actually do it. It's that pause between the urge and the behavior. The urge to do the action and the action. Does that make sense?
Yes.
What kind of observations did you guys notice at home and for you doing this exercise? I see somebody had they noticed their heart pumping.
Holding my breath.
Holding your breath during it. Like, oh, maybe you realized, oh, I'm not breathing and I need to breathe.
Yeah, people are saying that they were all in during that exercise. That's great. Fully
Excellent.
participating.
Great. So this is something I want you guys to practice at home, and we'll keep practicing it here because this is so important for us when we're trying to manage our behaviors to feel a little bit more in control, is when we can notice that urge and then choose if we're going to act on it or not versus the urge just taking us. And that's going to lead us into what your dad's going to teach us today about the skill of mindfulness of current emotion. Thank you, and take it over.
All right. Watch yourself there. All right. So, good wiggle exercise. I like it. So that we're going to start. So, here's what I want to do before we begin is kind of give our audience here a perspective of where we are now. So, Liz, when you get set, can you give me that next slide here? So, we're on our last emotion regulation skill. All right. And so, we are on remember we talked about our dialectic, our triangle. We have acceptance, right? Validation and change here, right? And so, This is over here on the change side, and we're under emotion regulation, right? So it's the last one, it's the wave skill. And so we're trying to figure out ways to help us reduce the severity of our emotion. Liz, you can go down to the next one. Great. And so keep in mind, I talked about this a week ago when we were talking about checking the facts, right? If the facts didn't fit, we were doing what?
The short term.
Well, so hold on a second there. So the short term is going to be a crisis survival. I'm going to get there. Opposite action, right? If the facts do fit, we were going to do problem solving and now what's called the wave skill, all right? So that's where we are. So now the facts do fit. Our emotion does fit the facts. We talked about that, right? And so now we're going to what's called the wave skill, or officially it's mindfulness of current emotion. We're aware of the emotion that we have. We have to use our mindfulness skills to do that. Does that make sense? All right. So how many of you here in this past week experienced an emotion? I can think of yours, I can think of yours, and I can think of one of yours. What emotion did you experience and about, wait, let Jackson go.
Happiness, playing with my friends.
All right, happiness, so joy, playing with your friends. Grace? What do you think? Can't think of anything? How about when no one went out to recess with you? What emotion was that? Lonely, sadness, right? So, yep. And then Ashton? Math homework, and that gave you what emotion? Anger. Good. So here's the thing about emotions, right? Emotions come over us like a wave. They only last 60 to 90 seconds. So why is it that you could be mad at math for so long? Because you kept thinking this was right, and you kept saying this is stupid, I don't need to know this, right? You kept firing it, right? So that's important. Grace, when you were having that experience with nobody coming out to recess with you, you were like, this isn't fun, this is lonely, this is, I don't like this, right? You started then blaming others. Does that sound familiar? Yes? Okay. They come over us like a wave, all right? So we can feel like a wave, because we've all played at the beach before. A wave builds, it peaks, and then it just dissipates, right? It goes back. It breaks, and then goes back, right? So what we're going to try to do here is when the emotion fits the facts and we cannot solve the problem, what we're going to do is we're going to then ride out the wave, right? We're going to surf it, you can boogie board it, and you get to skimboard it, okay? So that's how we're going to do this, all right? So when we have emotions, and this is Grace, I'm getting to your point, when we have these emotions that are really strong and it's above 65, what are we supposed to do? Is it wave skill time or is it something else? Crisis survival skills. Grace, 1 for 1. All right, that's right. And we learn the skill of accepts, right? So why not just do accepts all the time when it's math, when it's you're feeling sad because no one's playing with you at recess, and when you've got people playing on Xbox with you? Why not just do accepts all the time?
That's when it's above 65.
It is above 65, right?
And
if it's effective, why not just do that? Why not just keep pushing it away and pushing it away?
Because then you're not
Louder?
solving it. You're not solving
That's
it.
right. There's a 1 for 1. All right. You're not solving it, right? And so that's really important. We can't go through life keep pushing our emotions away and distracting ourselves from them. Remember, crisis survival skills were designed to what? Not make it
worse.
Skills. 2 for 2. Anytime, Jackson, you want to get in there, you let me know, all right? So that's right. The crisis survival skills don't solve anything, right? So what we want to do is we want to figure out ways when we should use crisis survival skills when it's high, and other times when we want to learn to deal with our emotions as they are. That's right. We want to do our emotion regulation skills, Grace. Nice work. All right. So can each of you grab your clipboards, and you can let's grab our handout on 21.1. You have it on your clipboards. For those of you at home, this is on page 456, and if you're following along in the lesson itself, I'm going to be on page 254. All right. And so here's what we want to do here. All right. We want to figure out how do we notice when we're having an emotion, when we're experiencing it. What skills do we do to notice things? Mindfulness, Grace, 2 for 2.
3 for 3.
3 for 3. Jackson, you're going to have to get in there. You ready? What mindfulness skills do we use to notice?
Noticing, being in the moment.
Wordless watching.
Wordless watching is which skill? Perfect.
What skills?
It is a what skill? I'll give you one. It's an observe, right? Wordless watching is an observe. And then when we put words to it, it's called?
Describing. Observation.
Describing. Nice work. All right. That's okay. Good. I like it, right? So those are our observations of what our bodies are doing, right? So that's great. So here's the thing. When we have an emotion and we're observing and then we describe it, what are we going to observe about that emotion? What kind of things happen when we're in this emotion? And Ashley, I'm going to turn to you because it just happened recently because you worked really hard on your math and it was a struggle, right?
And it was all wrong.
Well, it was difficult, right? So I won't say that it was all wrong, right? So here's what kind of things were happening in your body? What did you notice?
It was very, very annoying.
Annoying? So that's a thought, right? That's a judgment. Great. That is 3 for 3, all right? What else maybe did you notice when you were having joy with playing an Xbox?
That I got to with my friends.
And then when you had to leave, was there like, bummer? Or was it like, yeah, that's all fine. I can go. What was it?
Oh, it's mostly they left and they said they'd be on later.
Okay. So did you have some urges to want to keep playing if they were playing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll take that as a 3 for 3. And then Grace, when you didn't have anybody playing out at recess with you, right? And that was a real bummer and you were sad. What was your body telling you? What did you feel in your body? Where was it that you were feeling that emotion?
Well, I know the place where
Louder?
Well, I know the place where all my emotions are held.
Where's that?
The amygdala.
The amygdala. Yes, they are. I'm wondering though, in mindfulness, in here, where do you feel some of those emotions? So it's important for us.
In your gut.
Could be in your gut, right? Sometimes when you feel joy and love, though, it could be in your heart. So we experience emotions, the sensation of those emotions in different places, right? Mm-hmm. Why is it that we tend to want to get rid of our emotions or push them away? What do you think in there?
They can make stuff worse.
Say that again, Jack. Hold on, Ashton.
They can make stuff worse.
They can make stuff worse. Yeah, we can make things worse a lot, right?
You can.
What is that? Go ahead, Ashton.
You can make like decisions without thinking.
Make decisions without thinking. That'll make it worse.
You
Correct.
get overwhelmed by them.
Overwhelmed. Good. So everybody's up here cognitively. I like that, right? And I'm wondering though, what is it about emotions that we don't like? Is it the thoughts or is it actually
it's the
action?
It is the feelings. Ashton heating up. All right. So, and Jackson, you're right that we have those emotions give us action urges, and we're going to talk about that, right? And so that's important. So, Liz, if you can go to the next slide for me. Yep, next one. There. We have this inside the body experience, right? So the idea that we have these sensations, that's what we're talking about, right? That they give us an urge inside the body to do something. For Ashton, for you, it was like, I want to get rid of this anger and frustration about doing math, right? Because you just you could push it away, right?
I just want to get rid of math.
Grace, you had urges to cry and be upset, right? And blame somebody for not playing with you. And Jackson, you had this urge to want to keep playing, right? That's why sometimes it's really hard to get off some of these video games because the urge and the emotion is, I want to keep playing, right? We can have those urges and not act upon them, right? And so, yeah, go ahead.
Because someone else saying at home that they also notice that their emotions make them feel really uncomfortable and they don't like it.
Beautiful, exactly. We don't tend to like the physiological sensations that we get.
What does that mean?
So physiologically means what your physical body is saying to you, what it's communicating to you when you have that emotion, right?
Daddy.
So Ashton, it might be like if you get a test back, right? So when you got your science grade back and it was a really good score, you had that sensation of really being excited, super happy. Matter of fact, you were jumping up and down the hall numerous times, right? It was just fantastic, and you couldn't wait for mom to come out of the office to celebrate with her, right? That's an urge, right? And you're acting on it. We can have that urge to jump around and celebrate and not do it still. And we can also have if it's like one of our negative emotions, we can have the urge, the sensation inside of us, right? Inside of our bodies, and not act on it, right? So it's like feeling shame or feeling guilt. We don't have to act on those things because we just learned about when they fit the facts and when they don't. So in this situation, and Mom, go to the next slide, please. Perfect. Just stay there. All right? And so when we have those urges to do things, we want to make sure that we're checking the facts, right? The facts fit the situation, the emotion fits the situation, and then what do we do now that it's one of those physiological things. We gotta learn to sit with it. We're gonna learn to surf it, right? We're gonna let that emotion come in, peak, and slowly go out. And so one of the things I want to say to the group at home here was that Ashton last night did a fantastic job of working really hard when he was frustrated and upset and angry at having to do so much math work. And it started to dissipate, right? And when you started firing up and saying, oh, how crazy this is, and you were so annoyed, it got worse and worse again. The peak came again, right? And if you started doing some of the problems, it would go away. And so I wonder if that's happened to anybody at home here, where you've noticed yourself or your kids having these emotions peak up because they're thinking about thoughts that are judgmental, and then having to wait for them to go down. So I want you to think about some of the emotions that you might have. All right, so let's read.
And just also one thing, we have some questions about
Yeah.
how do you address the idea that some emotions are bad?
Right. And so all of our emotions are actually neutral. All right? None of them are bad, none of them are good. What we consider to be bad, or what we call negative emotions, are those that often give us a physiological feeling that we don't like as ourselves, right?
Can you
Some
just
people
say physical feeling?
I can. Thank you, Ashton, for the comment. Yes. So they give us a physical feeling that we don't like inside our bodies. It could be the butterflies in our stomach. It could be our heart racing. It could be us sweating. It could be like a dry mouth that we experience. So those tend to be things that we don't like, the physical sensations, right? And so those get associated with bad. At the same time, the happy emotions, or what we would say positive emotions, tend to give us feelings that we do like. So we tend to hold on to those more, right? We want to hold on to those more. And so that's what we mean by good and bad. Really, though, technically, all emotions are adaptive, and none of them are good and bad. They're all neutral. They just give us information, right? They communicate information to us, to others, and they motivate us to move. Those are the three functions of an emotion. They're all important to us.
And
okay?
some may have come along with more uncomfortable feelings, and the others more comfortable feelings.
Right. And so for example, shame and guilt might come with some of the uncomfortable feelings. Joy and love might come with the comfortable feelings. All right? So great point. All right. So can I get Jackson, can you read 21.1 to me, please?
All of it?
Everybody. Yep, go ahead. Experience your emotions.
Experience your emotions. When you have an emotion, observe it. Look at the wave.
Okay, great.
Step back and just notice it. I don't know what that one is.
Okay.
Get unstuck. Experience it as a wave, coming and going. Don't try to get rid of it or push it away. And don't try to hold on to it.
Right. So here, has anybody ever tried to stop a wave from coming? I can tell you Grace has done that numerous times. I can tell you a couple of waves have knocked Ashton off his skimboard, right? We can't stop those waves, right? And so this is the same thing with our emotions. We shouldn't stop the emotion because it fits the facts, all right? We want to be able to experience that wave. And it's taken Ashton and Grace and even Jackson a while to learn how to skimboard a wave, right? It takes time, just like it's going to take us time to learn how to deal with our emotions and to tolerate them, all right? And so, really good point. So I want you, Ashton, I want you to think about you in math yesterday when you were trying to push it away and push it away. Did it solve it?
No.
Did the emotion go down?
No.
No, not in the long term, right? In the short term, you might have not, you distracted from it. You use your accept skills, you distracted with a wise mind, right? And when you came back from recess or it was after dinner, it was still there and the emotion was still strong.
So we have a question. What does it mean to get unstuck? What does unstuck mean?
Yeah.
And what do you mean by trying to stop the emotion?
Yes, all right.
I
So,
know what unstucking means.
good, I was just going to call on you. So tell me what getting unstuck means.
So, like, if you have an emotion and, like, you just keep thinking about it, you just keep
Louder.
thinking, like, over and over how bad it is, and, like, you just get stuck, and, like, you're not looking at anything else, you just get stuck on the bad things, and, like, it's all black or white, it's, like, all or nothing, and you just get stuck like that. So getting unstuck is, like, taking a break or something, or, like, actually looking at it, and then, like,
That's
looking
not-
at it at a different point.
Right.
And, like, yeah, getting unstuck.
Correct. And we're going to cover dialectics, I think, actually next week a bit, right? And so getting unstuck is actually seeing the other side, not fueling the emotion with the thoughts like, this is stupid, I don't know why I have to do this. So it's kind of stepping back from the emotion and what it's telling you, right? And it's letting you observe the emotion and describe it, right? And so when we can observe and describe, we don't give it any judgment. One of our house skills that we taught, remember, was non-judgmentally. And I think Ashton, if I can use you for example, got stuck a little bit yesterday in judging that this is a really hard assignment. I don't like to do this. This is difficult. I don't ever have to do this. I don't need this, right? Got stuck judging and judging, which fueled that emotion, right? So stopping the emotion it's not, we don't want to necessarily stop it because they're adaptive. What we do want to do is bring down the severity of the emotion so that we can now be functioning more adaptively, or what we'd say is more effectively. And Ashton was able to do that. And so even though he was working for like 90 minutes, almost 2 hours after dinner last night, he was much more effective in his math work when his emotion came down. He was less effective when his emotion was high. And that was beautiful. And so that's what he needed to do. All right. So from there, who can read the second box for me, please? Go ahead, Grace. Nice and loud.
Notice where in your body you are feeling emotional sensations. Experience the sensations as fully as you can.
That's exactly right. And Mom, great, you put that up there. So I put there for you, everyone back home, that notice where and experience the sensation. So notice where it is in your body and let that flow into you, just like a wave crashing over the beach. Let it hit you, right? Let it come over you and let it go away. All right? So because the emotion makes sense, it fits the facts, let it come in. Notice those sensations. Notice where you feel them. All right? And then let them dissipate. All right?
What if it's a strong emotion?
What if it's a strong emotion?
Then the
Great.
wave knocks you over.
And so Ashton says, what if it's a strong emotion, the wave knocks you over? What skill should we be doing? Not wave skill.
Opposite action.
Not necessarily, because the opposite action
Crisis
says
survival?
crisis survival. We get ourselves away from the wave at that point, right? Because we're not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And let that distract ourselves so the emotion comes down a bit. And then, if it still fits the facts, we can then put ourselves into further on the beach and put ourselves into the sand. All right?
Daddy,
And we brace ourselves, right? And that's okay, right? Yes, Grace, you have a question.
are we going to do the steering contest?
We are.
activity?
Not yet. So I'm going to get there, right? So notice your urge to want to do it. I love that you want to do it. And stick with me here, all right? Ashton, can you read the third box, please?
Remember, you are not your emotions. You don't need to act on a feeling. Remember times when you have felt differently.
Right. Remember times when you felt different. Here's what's important about that, is that we often think that our emotions identify who we are, and they don't. Emotions just come and go on us, right? And so what we want to do is not give in and have to act on that emotion urge or that action urge that we have. And so emotions don't define who you are, all right? When we can become effective in dealing with our emotions and coping with them, then we get back to our long-term values and our identity of who we are. We get back to our wise mind, and that's really important. All right, Jackson, I'll let you read the fourth box.
Don't judge your emotions. Radically accept. Is that another skill?
Radical acceptance is another skill that we covered, that we're going to cover a little bit more detail in a week and a half, so that's good.
Radically accept an emotion as part of you. Invite it home for dinner. Name the emotion.
What?
Practice willingness to experience the emotion.
Where did we hear about willingness? Remember willfulness and willingness? Willingness is this way or this way?
This way.
Yeah,
This
it's not
way.
this is willfulness, right? Crossing our arms. It's you get stuck. Woulda, coulda, and shoulda. Remember?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Right? It shouldn't be this way. I shouldn't have this much homework.
Stop
Everybody
shitting on
should come out
yourself.
and play with me at recess.
Yeah, no shooting on you.
Versus like
Stop
this.
shitting on
Yes,
yourself.
that's right. We do a lot of shoulding, right? Woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? And Mom always likes to say that's shoulding, right? And so here's what's important about that, is that what we want to do is not judge ourselves for having that emotion. It's really important. All of us are going to have painful situations. Remember, pain is inevitable. Suffering
Is optional.
Nice, 5 for 5. Nice work. All right. So I love that. Okay. So what we want to do here is now an exercise that's going to put you, hopefully, in a little bit of an uncomfortable, giving you uncomfortable sensations. All right. So I'm going to explain the exercise and then we're going to do it. I want everybody to find a partner. Hopefully you have a partner at home there. We're going to stand up, and with your partner, I want you to stand about 12 inches to 18 inches apart, facing each other. And when the exercise begins, I want you to look and stare into the other person's eyes. Not laughing, not blinking, don't make any facial motions there. I want you to notice the sensations that you have inside. I want you to notice the urge you have to maybe look away or to laugh or to break the gaze. And simply notice it, all right? And that'll be important. And so as we begin, so Jackson, you and I decided earlier that you and I are partners, so we're about the same height. If you've got a little one at home that's 6, 7, 8 years old, and you've got a parent there, maybe the parent's on their knees at this point, right? So that you can get a better eye level with your partner there, all right? And so Jackson, or Ashton and Grace, go ahead and stand up. So we're going to do this for about a minute. Mom, I'm going to have you give us a timer. Can we do that? And so, again, the exercise is standing, facing, come on up, Jackson, come on over here so we can just show. So about 12 to 18 inches away, bend down a little bit here. So facing each other, right? And so what we want to be able to do is then we're going to, when the exercise begins, we're going to stare at each other, just looking directly in the eye. I want you to observe the sensations that you have, either inside your body, in the thoughts that you're having, and we'll discuss them when we're done, all right? So everybody stand up.
Daddy,
You can be in our mindfulness. You have a
what if
question?
your eyes get dry or
If your
watery?
eyes get dry, Grace says, what happens if your eyes get dry? Go ahead and blink, that's okay, right? What you don't want to do is keep them closed. The idea is to stare into the person's eyes for a minute, as long as you can, all right? And just notice then the reactions you have. Grace and Ashton, you're going to have to get a lot closer together. Little too close. No, come back, come back. No, Ashton, you can stand up straight. It's okay. You guys are close enough in height. All right? So, step 1, be in our mindfulness position, about feet, about width, shoulder width apart. Step 2, let's take a breath. And step 3, stare into your partner's eyes. Begin.
And stop.
And stop. Great. Have a seat. Good, you guys have it. All right. So, hey, folks, tell us at home in the chat bar what that was like for you. What did you observe? What were the sensations that you observed? And I'm going to talk to my class here, my kids, and see what they noticed as well. All right?
We
So,
got someone trying to make funny faces.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, did Ashton make any funny faces this time?
Yes, he made so many funny.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
So,
Yes, he did.
so notice that urge, right? And Ashton,
He also made me laugh.
notice I heard you laugh a couple times, right? And I know that you were trying to hold it because I could hear you breathing. So Grace laughed a couple times if you didn't hear her, right? And so, Ashton, what did you notice that your body was telling you? Sit this way, bud. Thanks.
It's just very, very boring.
So you thought it was boring? Okay.
It's very, very
What did you notice about was staring into Grace's face? Anything?
She never kept a straight face. The whole time she was always like,
So you noticed that. That's good. That's okay. Non-judgmentally, right? We don't have to be judgmental. So Grace couldn't keep a straight face. That was hard for her. I heard Grace laugh. Grace, what did you know about Ashton? What did you notice about his
A
face?
little bit. No. Well, when I was watching him, it's a little bit creepy.
A little bit creepy?
Yeah,
Okay.
just looking into someone's eyes.
All right. Jackson, what did you notice?
That it was challenging not to smile.
Challenging not to smile? Yep. All right. I agree. I was impressed that you were very stoic. You were like, I am not going to smile, even when Grace started laughing. So I thought that was really impressive. I noticed my desire to kind of look away, right? I kind of like, okay, I've held Jackson's eyes long enough.
You guys,
And so,
Grace
your
kept
gaze
going,
was changing from eye to eye.
yes, you're right. I went from eye to eye. Did anybody
Grace
else?
kept going like this.
Did anybody else change from eye to eye at home? All right. So we can. Hopefully that gave you a sensation in your body of like, oh my gosh, I want to get some distance because you're in my personal space, and to notice that urge, and it'll go away. If we could have done that for 3 minutes, the urge to look away would have gone down, right? So that's that wave that we're talking about. All right, so the final thing that we want to do is think about things in our COVID-19 environment right now. And folks at home, all right, I want you to put in the chat bar and help us out, is that I put up some of the emotions that we've covered in opposite action up on the board here, all right? Liz is going to write in some of your responses and some of our kids. So when do we experience, what situations do we have that are happening for us right now where we experience sadness, and where do we experience the sadness? Where do we feel it? All right, so Jackson, let's start with you. So where here do you experience sadness? Of this COVID-19 last couple of months, where have you experienced sadness?
Not being able to be with my friends.
Okay, no friends, good.
Well,
So
that's not true.
Not physically being with
not
Missing your friends.
missing your friends?
Yeah.
Okay, missing friends. And then Jackson, where have you felt that? Missing friends. Where have you felt that you're missing friends in your body? Where would that sensation be?
I actually don't know.
Somewhere, well, is it in your gut? Is it in your arms? Is it in your heart? Where do you think it is?
Probably my gut.
Your gut? Okay, kind of an emptiness then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depends
fair.
how sad you are. If you're like crying, I'd say in your mouth. Because
Okay, so
the tears are salty.
Because you're sad. Okay, that would be good. Grace, you want to add anything here to sadness for COVID-19? What situations? I can think of one for sure. Happened in March.
I had an isolated birthday.
Yes, a birthday party, right? We couldn't have the birthday party that you wanted, right? So the birthday party. And Grace, where did you feel that?
I don't count.
You too, Ashton, but I was asking Grace. We had both Grace and Ashton had birthdays during COVID so far, and so did Dad, for that matter. So, where did you feel it?
So missing friends, somebody else has said, makes them feel sad, and they're not sure how to notice it in their body.
Right. Maybe it's just an emptiness, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Emptiness.
know how to notice it.
Okay. Sometimes, and we're working on that, right? So that's kind of our observe and describe. We're observing that there's an emptiness that's there. Emptiness. All right. Let's go to joy. What things have happened during COVID-19 where we experience joy?
More family time.
So family time. Okay, great. Family time. And then Ashton, where in your body are you noticing that joy feeling for family time?
In my heart.
Okay, great. Heart. Jackson, you wanted to add something.
That I get to talk to my friends more online.
Okay, so online communication.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go
Either through text, Xbox party, game chats, or over FaceTime.
Great. So where do you notice that though in your body?
Just
Where do you notice it? And maybe go ahead. Ashton, let him go.
I didn't
What do you think?
That was me.
Sorry, Grace. Sorry, Ashton. Where do you think that would be?
my
Unsure.
heart.
Huh? Heart?
Unsure.
Not sure.
I'm not
And
sure.
so again, maybe we need just some work on where that is, right? So that might be just more developing of our mindfulness exercise, our mindfulness skills, right? Observing where that is, being more aware of it, and trying to figure out where you feel that. Okay, what have we heard from back home?
Yeah.
What do we have?
Well, during that exercise, we have several people who noticed that they experienced connection and felt love in their heart when connecting through eye contact.
Yes.
So we can ask also, like, that joy, and for both joy and love, where did you notice that in your body during that exercise, for
Right.
those of you who experienced that?
Right. And so one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that we have, and if you could flip back to me here, that'd be, is that when I do this exercise at the university, we have them do this, I have 300 students who are strangers to each other. And so that experience of love is not there, right? So they're not partnered up in any way. So you're looking at a stranger's eyes for a minute, and so that usually produces a pretty uncomfortable type of
That's
feeling.
weird.
Right? Well,
That's
it's just the idea is to give you that sensation, right? All right.
So I
So-
want to suggest suggest that if this is new to you and noticing sensations and not even sure where you feel an emotion in your body, that over the next couple of days that's something you practice mindfully paying attention to so you can start gathering that information.
Great.
And then we'll post some information about what sensations often go with what skill, with what emotion.
What sensations go? Okay, right. Okay, great. All right, let's just do 2 more and then we'll call it good, all right? So anger. Somebody wasn't happy with math. I do remember that, all right?
I wonder who that was.
So, Ashton, so you want me to put homework down, math? What do you want? Which one do you want?
Homework.
Okay. Homework. And Ashton, where do you feel the sensation of the anger? Where do you feel it?
In my arm.
Your arms get tense? Is that where it is?
Yeah, and then I want to throw the pencil or break the pencil or do anything with that pencil.
All right. So
Anything
your arms,
to get
your
you
arms
going.
hold some of that anger. Okay.
Yeah.
Others of you being angry?
No.
All right. I put the wrong color there. Okay.
No.
So let's go with love here then. Grace, let's go to you for love. What have you experienced during COVID that gives you the emotion of love? Can you think of anything?
I know there's something, maybe cornhole?
Cornhole, so we got some more family games. Okay. So family games, I like that. And then Grace, how do you
Dragon Prince.
Where do you, Grace, feel love in your body?
Maybe my heart or my
Heart?
chest.
Heart and chest, okay. And chest. All right.
And so one thing, if I can make a comment that I think is important to notice, is that we can feel similar sensations for 2 different emotions. So we feel it in our heart for joy, and we can feel love in our heart area. And so sometimes it's just dialing in on where the sensation in your body is, and then going deeper into the model of emotions to our thoughts and our behaviors to figure out even more so what emotion
I don't
we're
really
having.
pay attention to where it is.
You don't pay attention, so that's something that we can work on, right? And so it might be kids that don't pay attention as well. So great. For the sake of time, I'm gonna move us down to the next slide. So thank you for participating. Appreciate it. And if you want to do that exercise at home and continue with the rest of the emotions there, that is fine. Why I'm bringing this up is because this is the last skill in emotion regulation. And hopefully you can see Liz circling the sensations or urges that the red asterisk is by the wave skill. This is where we were. Inside the body. People cannot see our behavior because we haven't given into the action urge yet. And the idea behind the wave skill is to, maybe if the facts fit, is to provide an opportunity just to experience that emotion without walking away, without yelling at somebody, without feeling the shame, right? And removing yourself. So that's where that skill is, all right? And so you can see here too in this diagram, we have the rest of the skills that we've learned so far in the model of emotion as well, where you can see opposite action over and outside the body. Liz covered the please skills and ABC, which are our vulnerability factors. We talked about problem solving. Mindfulness of current thought is down on the thoughts about the event. Mindfulness of current emotion, that's our wave skill, right? And then checking the facts and, crisis survival skill is the other one where we're trying to say, okay.
It's above 65.
Above 65, beautiful, Ashton. All right, with that, let's see if we can't do a little summary of what we have left. So here's what I hope that we covered today that you can take away, right? That when we have an emotion, one of the things, if we're below 65, is the first thing we do is, does it fit the facts, right? Does the emotion fit the facts? That's our first question. If it fits the facts and it's solvable, we should solve it.
Yeah.
If it fits the facts and it is not solvable, we go to wave skill, which is effective in helping us ride out that emotion urge without giving in. The wave skill helps us get unstuck, and that's really important, that we can not get stuck in the emotions and continue to have these thoughts that are feeding our frustrations. And then we want to make sure that we learn then to ride the wave, right? And so that'll be important so that we notice and experience. Just like you guys when you're boogie boarding or skimboarding, you're noticing that what that wave's doing, and you're experiencing it, right? And so we want you to notice and experience those emotions without pushing them away. And that's such a key point. We don't want to push away those emotions, because if we keep pushing it and pushing it away, is that effective in the long term? No, right? And so we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to avoid those emotions. And so be like a surfer, boogie boarder, or skimboarder. With that, thank you for being here. You guys can say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Make sure to subscribe.
Make sure to subscribe, Ashton says. We appreciate your time.
And
Go skillfully, and we will see you on Thursday. Take care.
Remember the Q&A on the days.
Okay. Last announcements again. Just we're having a Q&A May 19th and June 16th, 10 a.m. Seattle time or Pacific Daylight Time. And then we'd love to see you on Facebook Live Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Great to see you, and take care.
Bye.